And welcome on in. How y'all doing today? I see Mad Dog. I see Mike in chat already. Mike, get you out of here early for the hair tie. Caleb, I was a bit late in posting my announcement thing, so people might be a bit later trickling in here. I got distracted with James because we were messing around with back-end stuff for the stream, audio stuff and things like that, and we were kind of having fun. And then I looked over the clock. I'm like, oh, I got to be live in 12 minutes. So, yep. So to do today, we're going voltage. I am hoping, is it next stream or the stream after that we possibly can have live wire?
Well, the thing is, first of all, let me look at a calendar so I don't say the date's wrong. Not next week, but the week after next week, we will not have a stream. So 2 streams from now, but 3 weeks, you will have live wire. Just for you.
My favorite flavor. Welcome in, Raj, 3D. How you doing, Dave and Terry? I'm guessing Dave, but it could be Terry. Yeah. Livewire is my favorite flavor. Unfortunately, they sat here, and when it first came out, it came out for a summer. Then they didn't ship it to South Florida, where I grew up. And then I moved up Central Florida area, and I could get it again. Then the pandemic hit, and they stopped shipping to Florida altogether. So I have to drive to the next state to even get it. So, it's both Dave and Terry. Welcome on in. Actually, hey, James.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, because the Voron has been printing. This is a little project that I've been doing for my partner.
Ooh,
They wanted it.
Looks rough.
They wanted a trash can. Now this one failed partway through because I used the wrong support. So I have to reprint this part. But with this was originally supposed to be a pin holder. I blew it up 495%. And once I get it all finished, it's going to be a trash can. So so yeah, that was actually really cool. It also helped me it also taught me a valuable lesson when you are building these 3D printers, and that is start your tuning with PLA, because there's some things that you might need to tune that you might throw off to the quirks of ABS or ASA, and it turns out it's not. And so that's actually, besides the bad support setting, was the reason that other one printed, because I had things like my Z offset that was working all of a sudden drifted off, and then I had to reset it and everything, but got that all fixed. And Orca sat here when I saved the project originally, because I had to restart the computer, came back, and I'd had my extrusion multiplier set, and it was actually a good multiplier. Well, it saved it as the default multiplier in the project, so when I reopened the project, it started using that, and that's what caused the supports to fail. LTX, welcome on in. Pico Makes, how you doing? All right, so, well, you know, I take forever with these builds, so let's not delay it any further. Where we left off last stream is we'd gotten our little Z assemblies together here, and right over here, you can see they call for a printed gear and a single shim. Well, what I just, when I was putting it together last stream, we're sitting here, I'm looking at it, and it was a bit loose. Well, I did some digging and, looked through the rest of the manual, and hey, I didn't need any more of those size shims for the rest of the build, so LDO does actually send enough that you can double shim this size. But what I found out when I was going through the manual is when they produce the CAD, they overlay the parts onto each other. So they put both the CNC gear and the printed gear on top of each other. That way you can hide which one you're not using. Well, when I hid the printed gear and the hub and the tooth idler hub that goes with it, you can see right here, there's actually a gap. So there is another place for a shim. So if you buy the LDO kit, even though the manual calls for one shim, use two shims on the side between the bearing and the big 62 tooth gear. But with that, I got these in. There's no more slop in that gear. And got our little belt on. So we can move on to the next part. Now, this is showing where to put some of your heat sets. We've got all those in already because, again, I'm trying to get better for you guys. Getting those things out of the way so that way you guys don't have to sit here and watch me go, okay, we're getting the heat set in. So our next thing, we have our little top plates. There are different top plates for different sections on this. So they just sit on top. Now, there is like a little lip down on the bottom here and up here. So that way, that's one of the keys. They also have actual keyed pieces that fit in. And so that goes in. And so how do we connect those? In 3x8s. Well, hey, I still happen to have those out. Uh-oh. Oh. It was still a nice looking chip bike. And I could say it was really cool. Dave and Terry, seeing all those different chips in that website for the Baker chips was also a really cool little add-on that I look forward to one day having my own chip in there. Okay, so I believe these are are these a 2 or a 2.5? I cannot remember. These are 2 mil. All right, so let's grab our electric screwdriver that James gave us. And let's remagnetize that tip.
I really think that magnetizer just doesn't work.
It's a fairly weak magnetizer. It could also be that Nope. That seems to work there. All right. Sometimes a healthy fear is a good thing, Mike. So I will say, Dave, did you see the post that I put in your chat for a new little sign for you? That might be something to have a healthy fear about. Okay. Give these a little bit of a twist just to make sure that they're nice and ugga-dugged. Don't want to go too tight because there is plastic So we're screwing into a heat set on these, but there's plastic in between. I am trying to get better about projecting and keeping an eye on chat while we're doing things. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep it up because ADHD, it'll make me forget things. But I'm trying.
I do want to shout out I posted a new video to the channel not too long ago. It was a cut down version of our Prusa build stream. So if you haven't seen that yet, after stream, go check it out.
And then I've got to sit here and do a new Pex Pepper order soon because we ran out of our Taco Fuego, and that is like the hot sauce we use when we go to Tijuana Flats or any kind of burrito place because, oh my God, it's so good with it. So who knows? There might be another Pex Pepper stream here soon. Yep, and we posted a short going over my reactions to the Pex Pepper, so might have to break in the new studio with a Pex Pepper stream. Because all we've had so far is Peeps, and my partner has said that they want to do at least one weird Peeps tasting a year, and I hate Peeps on a good day. Like, I love sweet things, but Peeps are just too sweet for me. They ran out of pineapple? Pineapple. Well, I know he does do seasonal stuff, so he got rid of the pineapple. He might have replaced it with something else. No Peeps for me.
There's like one flavor that's like okay on a good day, but that's about it. I don't even know what flavor that is off the top of my head. I think it's the blue one, whichever one that is. And again, it's only okay.
Yeah, we sat here and had all that watermelon and Pop-Tarts and all those things. That was just... But I am looking into weird foods to try. You know, get a bit more international like I did on the first food challenge.
I mean, that's fair. I'm a sucker for anything blue, though, so any blue flavored thing is probably my favorite flavor of said thing.
All right, so we've got our little top plates on. Now, something I'm going to point out in the manual here, it shows taking one of these pieces and putting it on here. What it doesn't show you until a few steps down is there actually heat sets in this piece. So, you know, for anybody that's going through and building these, you know, don't always rely on the manual as it is right now for where your heat sets go. Open up the CAD and take a look, because it might be 2 or 3 steps later that you find out, oh, wait, there was supposed to be a heat set there. Tom, I don't know if I could do that. First off, I don't know if my partner would let that smell in the house. And then I don't know how my stomach would do with that. Insects I could do. I've actually done grasshoppers before. So
insects I cannot do. I will not be partaking in that one.
Okay, so I need to find our M3 by 25s. So quick, to the box of screws.
That's what she said.
Caleb, I don't know what that's to, because one of those things deep fried, I'm fine with. The other of them deep fried, no. That's going a bit too far, even for me. M3 by 16s. Somewhere in here are M3 by 25s. M3 by 30s. M3 by 20s. Of course, there we are. M3 by 25. I can tell you, I cannot wait to start printing the multi-board for that back wall. So I have a place to keep screws and everything. I want to sit here and get like a little screw bin that I can mount on there. That for streams, I can just be like, okay, this thing's lifting off and going here. Make it all nice and easy to use. James might like some Rocky Mountain oysters.
No idea if I'd like them or not, because I'm never going to try them. So we'll never know.
Switching out to our 2.5 tip, and let's go ahead and make sure that's magnetized. I would say I had some pretty good gator tail today. So that is one nice thing about living in Florida is gator tail is quite accessible here. Okay, OBS just said we lost internet. If you guys can still hear me, you know, and see me, give me a penguin in chat. Okay, Caleb says he can still see us. All right, we got a penguin. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm looking into some like different foods to put in for our streams. You know, we're currently at 172 subs at 250, which is about the halfway point to the next like achievement milestone thing that YouTube gives me. I do want to do another food stream. So far I have I'm debating between mushy peas and beans on toast because they're not something we usually do here in the States. I know over in England that's kind of a everyday thing, or not everyday thing, but like a comfort food thing. Caleb, that would depend on the fish. Well, that would actually depend on two things. One, the fish. Two, if the USPS will allow you to ship it through the postal service, because I know that they can be very picky about food going through the postal service. Get out some of the air in here. So that is our little Z housings all together there. Right, and now we get to put our motors on these things? So this is where it looks like it's fun. Okay, that actually was a little bit hard to get the actual pulley around it, but once it's in, yeah, that was not that bad. Let's see here. Grouper, tuna, salmon. I could say shark steaks are actually pretty good, but they're harder and harder to find.
Shark steak. Ooh-ha-ha.
Quick Central, welcome on in. Let's here get this in here while I pay attention to chat here. Down Under, how you doing? No, it's not built yet. I'm delaying building it just because of you, Down Under Maker. This is not the easiest thing. There we go. Not quite the easiest thing to get put in there. But now that I'm getting used to it, that one went in a bit easier. Oh, nice. I've never been much of a corn person. I don't know why. There's just never really got a liking for it. Warm Tech, how you doing? Welcome on in. But I think the onion rings sound delicious, Wick. James will sit here and die on the hill of onions are disgusting.
No, I will die on the hill if I don't like onions. Clearly, they're not disgusting to most people. Most people eat onions just fine. They're just not for me. That's all. It's just like pineapple on pizza. It's just not for me.
Yeah, the holiday weekend has been nice.
Yeah, it was.
James
I worked yesterday and got paid for 20 hours while I only worked 8. It was great.
Yeah. James decided to work the day and get paid time and a half, but I took the day off because I could. And I needed to use the time off or I would lose it, so.
See, here's the thing is I like pineapple and I like pizza. I just don't like them together. I totally understand why people like them together. It's just not my favorite thing. I don't really like any sweet things on pizza. It's just not for me.
Okay, so we need some M3x20 socket heads and an M3x7 washer. But yeah, no, yeah, it's a rare thing that James will sit here and, you know, do something like, I don't know, eat chocolate. He will eat it. But it is a very rare thing.
Wick, I do like sweet corn though. I didn't hear Penguin if he said if he does or doesn't, but I love sweet corn.
I've never got a liking for corn. That is one of the things that I never ended up getting a liking for. And there's a lot of things I just wasn't fed as a kid. And my mom's reasoning was they didn't like it as a kid, so they weren't going to feed it to me. And I was just a really picky eater as well growing up. I had an entire like 2 years growing up where my entire diet was hot dogs, grilled cheese, and pizza. That's all I would eat.
Well, that's the difference, Wick, is that I don't charge the customer. I work for a company that charges the customer. So I don't get a say in what gets charged. I just get the paycheck.
That's an M3x20, but that's a button head. I need our M3x20 socket heads. That's 40s. I think this M3x20 socket head.
Caleb, I must admit, I don't know if I've ever had specifically fresh pineapple on pizza. Maybe I'd like it. I don't know. I can't say if I have or haven't tried it. Pineapple on burgers is amazing, though. That 100%.
So now I'm trying to find these M3x7 washers or shims. I found the M3x6s. Brass standoffs. M3x6 screws. I'm not liking that.
Well, there's a lot of things you don't like. What is it this time?
I'm not seeing M3x7 shims. I found the M5s. We got distracted with the new audio setup. Let me go and check the bomb here and just... Okay. Precision spacers, M5s. Our standard. So shim washer, M3x6, 5.5. I think they sent... I think LDO sends M3x6 instead of M3x7s. So the big thing that we're going to find out is as long as the M3x6s will fit in there and not pull through the opening, we're going to use the M3x6s. Beetroot on burgers. Can't say I've ever thought about putting that on a burger. And the M3x6 washers work. So if anybody is deciding to pick up one of these kits, know that the manual says M3x7, but the LDO kit, you're going to use an M3x6 washer.
You know, I definitely know what a beetroot is. I don't think I've ever actually had beetroot at all on anything or by itself at all. The only thing I really know about beetroot is it's extremely messy and stains a lot. That's about all I know.
Partner likes beets. I know, but I had an entire part of my garden that was just filled with beets. 6 different kinds of beets. And
I also have to mention for anyone who was curious and that was here last week. So you know how I was giving Elgato crap about their new device? Well, it turns out that the issue happened to actually not be Elgato this time. It was AMD. So if anyone who is into computers remembers from the pretty early AM4 days, they had issues with USB and USB dropouts. Well, it turns out, while they put a lot of mitigations and stuff in place to, try and help that, and they say they fixed it to the best of their abilities, I plugged in the Elgato XLR to my laptop, which is an Intel 11th gen, and it works just fine. So it was one of those very strange and weird use cases / devices that still has issues with USB dropouts on AM4. So we had to change out the processor, and then we added in a USB adding card. And so far, everything seems to be working as intended, thankfully.
And now he jinxed it.
I'm knocking on wood. It's okay. But yeah, so it appears that Elgato this time, at the least, was not the issue. Thank you, AMD. Yep, I had the latest BIOS. I had the latest chipset firmware. I updated everything. I even completely reinstalled Windows just in case. Nothing helped.
So what I'm doing is the good thing about being tech people. But anyways, the advantage of being, IT people, random processors and stuff just sitting around. But what I did here, because these screws are also used as part of the tensioning system, tightened them in all the way, then backed them out so that way there's a little bit of room for this to move, because unlike on the 2.4 where you have a little latch to do the tensioning, there's actually a screw that's going to be going through the top here, and that actually moves the entire motor out to tension the belt.
I just had a river jump into my lap off the floor, and that was very sudden and startling.
Okay, so now...
Also, I don't know if any of you are actually telling the truth that it was actually, robot mode with the audio. If it is, I know exactly why. It actually has nothing to do with the audio interface. When I reinstalled Windows, I forgot to set the bitrate in OBS. So the bitrate is a bit low for the stream. It seems to be working for the most part. If anything weird like that happens, I know. I just can't fix it while we're streaming, is kind of the thing. So, sucks.
Okay. Grab my 2.5 driver here, because I'm going to actually want to feel this for tightening it down, because this is where I'm actually tightening for the belt tension. So we're tightening this in. And I'm just going till I feel a bit of resistance there. Yes, she is. And even with those double shims, you can see, stand up here. With the double shims even, it goes right to the edge of that gear. So that is lined up, so all right. Go to our next one. James loses signal all the time. Yep. Yeah, he loses his mental signal all the time. Okay. So, down under, I take it you're going for England and not Australia. I have not been following the World Cup, so I don't know what the standings are and everything. Okay, so Australia's out. I mean, Mad Dog, I could say that the next best thing would be the English. I mean, you know, going on history, you know, a lot of Australians did come from England. Nemesis, how you doing? Welcome on in. Okay, so I'm just going through and letting this thing run to try and center itself. Because, yeah, it is right there on the edge of that big pulley. Okay, and then once we get those in, yep, we take and we're going to tighten down the two screws up here to lock that motor in place. So now we have 3 points of locking, the 2 on the front and the 1 for the tensioning. Oh, River has had enough of James. Ah, James has had enough of River. You're doing warm and in the dark. Oh. Nemesis, I feel you for having no power. I sat here and remember been through many a time with no power. So the England game is delayed until 2 a.m. UK time. So what would that be? That's a 6-hour difference. So 8. So in about 20 minutes. Unfortunately, Caleb, the cat doesn't just want to sit in the lap. The cat will sit here and do everything it can when it wants to get your attention, so you will give it scritches. And if you don't give it scritches, it will let you know that it's there, so you can give it scritches. Nemesis, you've been out since Friday? Ugh. I can sympathize and empathize with you, having been down in South Florida with no power after Andrew and Sandy and Wilma and Jean.
Man,
and
that's a lot of
going
people.
weeks without power.
Those are all people who hit the telephone poles.
Not people, but yeah. Okay, maybe I just did math wrong. Oh no. No. 8 o'clock here would be 6 out. It might be a daylight savings time thing then. All right.
Math is hard. It's okay.
Yep, math is hard. Grab our frame. Put our little washer back. And we need M3 by 40s.
Nemesis, if it's currently raining, doesn't that mean it's 100% humidity?
He keeps trying to make that a joke. Okay, M3 by 40 socket heads. We have that. So we're going to flip our printer over. I'm going to need to stand up. And then try and figure out which way these things go. Okay. That one appears that it goes there. 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 And by process of elimination, that one goes there. Okay. Now comes the fun part. I get to sit here and try to line up the drop-ins. That should be good there. I need 2 drop-ins on this side. There. So, if I line those up properly, we should be good there. I wish I could say I was foreign to the concept of humidity. Sadly, I think I'm half tempted to say Florida invented humidity. I know that's hyperbole, but sometimes it feels like it. Okay, so I'm just working on getting these trying to get this lined up because I don't know how well I can do that. But that seems pretty good there. Yep, we are flush on the edges there. One motor down. 3 to go. Ah, that's how it goes. Lining up our drop-ins. That all looks good. I would have to agree, Caleb. I think Florida was molded by it. That's why there's a lot of a certain kind of colony in Florida. All right, I'm just getting this thing. Bit of fine tuning here on its positioning. Go. Oh, did he leave me again? More like instant sweat. I wish I could sweat in Florida. Or, let me rephrase that. I wish when we sweat, it did something in Florida. All right, so that is 2 motors down. Let's line up our next set of drop nuts. Okay, that should be our drop nuts all lined up. So hopefully this will just go right in. And you can say, Robert's your mother's brother.
Oh,
Work it out. You've never heard the term Bob's your uncle?
Nemesis, every time that I get out of my work vehicle to go to a client's house, I have to take off my glasses or else I just can't see every single time.
Okay, apparently I did not quite line this up enough. And it does not want to pull out.
That's what she said.
Get it? See what was coming. Yep, that definitely. Well, that would.
Yep, I am almost legally blind without my glasses.
I've actually had clients waiting outside with a towel.
I can't tell you how much I miss winters, like actual winters.
Yeah, James is not the biggest fan of Florida. But he didn't grow up here, so. Grow. I said grow. Hey.
Yes, I have Nemesis, and I miss it. Compared to this heat, I would much rather have my hair freeze than this heat. It is the better option of the two, no questions asked in my mind.
Yeah, I'm not jealous of you people that have had that experience. Granted, I'm also not a standard Floridian because, well, I won't go down to the negatives like you guys are talking about. I will go down into the teens in Fahrenheit, like 14, 16, and I will be fine out there in a pair of shorts.
Bad Dog saw snow once. He hated it.
I have been in snow. I have seen snow. The one thing I have yet to see is the act of snow.
Moving snow is so much fun, though. I love being in a plow truck. It is such a fun, cozy experience. I don't know why, it just is.
Yep, that is one thing on my bucket list, is to actually see it snowing in person. So yeah, so maybe one of these days I'll be able to actually go somewhere in winter and see snow falling from the sky. But today is not that day. I mean, actually, today could be that day. Heck, if I'm correct, recently it is, middle of summer and it was snowing in Montana.
I mean, to be fair, if we're not already there yet, it's just about time for it to start snowing, in Australia, right? Certain parts get snow there.
Oh, it gets very cold now. A lot of people don't, or at least a lot of Americans don't realize how far south Australia is. All right, let's see if that works. I'm having the damnedest time. There we go. Okay. Inside is good, but this side you shift over the slightest bit. Okay, just getting this thing nice and lined up on that side. So tighten this down. Killa, how you doing? Hope the move is going well for you. I can say it's been pretty nice. Now that I've partially tuned here, I could go through and reprint some of these parts because the overhangs are a bit rough. But overall, it's been pretty nice. We're learning some of the fun processes of, hey, this manual is still being worked on. Okay, so I think those possibly are extra screws. Our next thing is some Z idlers. So we're gonna put that aside and go into our bin of parts. And there's an idler. There's an idler. Caleb, yes, the color scheme is just going to be the green and black. Digital Dragon, welcome on in. Want to give big shout out to Digital Dragon. I sat here and decided to do the dragon hot end for this build. Nobody had it in stock except for Digital Dragon, and he's got that on its way to me. So, I sat here and just talked with him, and I purchased it. So, you have those hard to find parts. Give his store a look, because he has things sometimes that others don't. Where is my last idler? Of course, it can't just be on the top. No, it's got to be a small part.
I ate it. That's where it went. It was in my stomach.
That has sunk down to the bottom. There it is. Idler 4. Yep, see? I ordered it on the 4th, and it's already in the mail, so I could say, that's actually beating quite a few other stores that I've ordered from. And add to that, it's always good to support our fellow community members. Okay, I need our M3 hex nuts. M3 hex nuts. And I have to find our pins and these other idlers, which the idlers I'm pretty sure are going to be in the motion box. And the pins might be there as well. Yeah. One motion kit. Okay, those have to be for the front idler. Okay, so this calls for a 13 millimeter pin. But I have 14, 18, or 3x14 and 3x18, but no 3x13. So I'm guessing we're going to be using the 3x14s. Because I have been seeing different little things like that. And these are our 4 idlers, and then we need our shims again. Of course, there we go. And we're going to need the holders for our idlers. Bergman, welcome on in. Let's see here. There's no such thing as too much. No, there could be such a thing as too much of that. I have been going through my house, and I have definitely accumulated quite a bit of stuff. Okay, so we're going to try the 14 millimeter ones. And I'm pretty sure that's the ones we're going to be using, because they easily fit in this. Make sure. No, that's 16. Ah, there's our short ones. Gridding entry, this is an LDO kit. Okay. So the only M3 shafts I have 4 of, which I know we're going to need for this, are the 18 mil. That's not 18. That's our 18. One, 2, 3, and 4. And 18 mil will easily fit within that, so I'm not sure why they're calling out for 13s. Unless that was a typo, and they didn't finish off the 8. Let's see, Gergman, you're building your ST. Yep. And you keep taking all the parts you're replacing until you get. Hey, if you replace enough parts, eventually you can build another printer. And grid gantry. I mean, to me, it's the best printer kit is the one you have. You know, I don't have any, qualms about this printer brand or anything like that. To me, if it gets you in the hobby, and you're having fun doing it, that's the best printer for anybody. Okay, so we have a shim, a pulley, a shim, and then this, apparently, I guess, just could push right down in, and that snapped right in. A little bit of wiggle, but not much, so I'd say that's pretty good.
Can you do me a real quick favor? Your monitor, can you push that corner, the bottom left corner, ever so slightly further away from you? A little bit more. There you go. Good job.
Okay. That's in there. Shim on each side. Now, the LDO kit uses the pinned pulleys, but there are parts and kits that use a screw instead of doing a pin mod type thing. So, right, yep, we have a little bit of play there. So if you have one of those, you know, they do show the pinned STL, but they, on the GitHub, they list both a pinned and a screwed version of this piece. Now I can say I did the screwed version of idlers on the 2.4, and this pin version, I'm kind of liking that it just kind of snaps together. Okay, that's 3 of the 4. And our last little toothed pulley piece. Let's see. Bergman, I got what you meant when you said the ST. And Lone Star, welcome on in. And I agree with that, Lone Star. My favorite printer is the one that's not broken at the time. If it is up and printing, it's a good printer for me. Gorgon Gamer, welcome on in. And Gorgon, you know, everybody has their opinions and everything. Like I said, I am to me the only bad printer is one that's not working, or B, one that's a risk, that's actually a risk to you or your property. Other than that, if they're printing, they're good. Okay, so now we need to take some M3 nuts here, and those are going to go into the top part of our idler. But before I forget, I'm going to take all of these pins and place them back into our little baggie. Clean up as I go, because I know me, if I do not do that, you won't be able to see the desk here in a bit. Welcome on in, Havoc. How you doing? Havoc, all you've missed so far is us getting the Z motors mounted to the frame. And that has a bit of string on it. So let me get my torch. We're just going to torch off those little strings. That one's good. That one's got a bit of strings. There we go. Okay. Now, hey. You know, these are some of the first prints that came off of that Voron that weren't test prints. And there is room for improvement on it, but overall, I'm actually quite pleased. Yeah, that EMS mod looks really nice. One day, I will do one. I mean, when I was sitting here looking at buying the 2.4, I was already looking into mods and stuff, and one of the things I found was somebody that had taken, and since you can't really do inverted electronics, I will say easily, on a 2.4, they actually came out with a mod that overcomplicated everything after I took a look at it, but the entire electronics drawer can pull out the front for if you need to get access to it. So I thought that was kind of cool instead of having to flip your printer on the side or upside down. Okay, so there's our M3 nuts, and then we need some M3 by 30 button heads. Uh-oh. Killa, are you informing me that I have another mod to do on the 2.4? If it's fairly easy, I'll definitely take it. Content. I was just... Now I'm kind of curious as to how you would do inverted electronics on the 2.4 with the bed down there. I just figured it'd be really, I won't say difficult, but annoying to lift that entire bed up. Right, where are my M3 by 30 buttons? Our square nuts. M3 by 30. Okay, but it's not so much inverted, it's used me faster. Okay. LCX, yeah. There's always another mod for a Voron. I can definitely agree with you on that. Okay, where did my switch out our tips here? Cody, welcome on in. How you doing? Glad to see so many people here tonight. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe in the near future, we'll see. I can sit here and have fun modding the heck out of the 2.4. Lost the nut.
That's what he said? Question mark?
Oh, especially if you're Lance Armstrong. Okay. And I can definitely say I'm going to need to reprint at least this one, because I can see right here where it definitely peeled off the bed. So I'm going to need to reprint some of these parts, but we'll at least get them installed and I can reprint them, you know, afterwards off stream. But we will not hamper the progress while we're waiting for that. Drive safe, Luke. Havoc index maybe one day, but I think if I do an index, it's going to be on that one, not on that one. This one I do have plans to mod it like crazy, and some of these mods are one of those things where it's like no one in their right mind should be doing this, and I am not doing this because, you know, it has a purpose or anything. I'm doing it because I think it'll be fun. And that is literally the only reason some of the mods in the 2.4 are going to go in. Not because they should be done or they're needed to be done, but I think it will be entertaining. And I hope to bring you all along for the ride once that starts happening. But I don't want to start modifying that printer until, you know, I have another Voron up and going. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to reprint that one piece because all these others are, you know, they were nice and flat, but good Lord, I did not see that until now, and that is causing it to bind. I'm going to check and make sure that I didn't accidentally put a bad one in my little parts drawer, and I have a new one already. Nope. Real friends don't let friends have stock Vorons. Let's see here. Yeah, the delays on Index are getting kind of up there, and I can't remember when it was first announced, but I swear it's been over a year. The wife bribed him with a kitten, Gergman. That would, depending on who it is, that would be a pretty good bribe. Okay. I sat here and went a bit overboard and printed a whole plate of umbilical holders just to have them. But what I need was storage.
No, you can't mix the colors. No. It looks like a bucket of peas and carrots. It does.
Colorblind, right? Yellow.
Are you
Not
telling me
orange.
those are not the color of carrots?
It's yellow and green. James, that is not the color of carrots.
It looks pretty darn close, not gonna lie.
I'm gonna have that up and waiting, and I will. What do you guys think? Should I just go ahead and reprint this part now? Don't know how long it'll take. Let's see what Orca says for a single one of those.
Kirkman, is that Milo Murphy as in the Disney TV show? Milo Murphy's
One
Law?
of these- New project 4-1. Four. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. I do. That. That. Import. Micron. Main build. Accent pieces. That piece is the idler. Pinned, open, slice the plate. Okay. Let's go ahead and print. I'm starting to print. James says I'm not allowed to start a print. Let's see. I can always cancel the print.
I love Figment. He's one of my favorite Disney characters.
the one that nobody knew about until recently. Okay. So let me find my M3x20s now, and these are button heads as well. M3x20 button heads. Oh, you thought this was a pencil sharpener? I mean, you know, either way. Yeah, James and I have done a lot of Disney. Do 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 do.
Copyright claimed.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, at least you didn't start singing the song of your absolute favorite Disney ride of all time.
Trying to think. There's so many rides I like at Disney, though. Don't you? No.
That's what I was talking.
No. You guys are so lucky you could not hear what James just started singing. Bad James. Yes, Nemesis. Exactly that. Bad James. Okay. I like Gergman's version. The Aladdin carpets are pretty fun at Disney. I would say for me, yeah, they're pretty fun. For me, for Magic Kingdom, it's a toss-up because, you know, Tron is really good, but it's very short. But Pirates of the Caribbean has so many memories for me. I don't know.
I don't know, man. There's just something about Space Mountain.
Oh, you mean the backbreaker? Space Mountain.
Who needs to go to a chiropractor?
When you can ride Space Mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah. Lord knows you. If you didn't need one before Space Mountain, you'll definitely need one after. Okay. Caleb, not Disney, but can definitely appreciate the Mr. Rogers. Here. Wah, 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 wah. Bergman, we learned that on Space Mountain there are certain seats that I've got a bad back, and there's certain seats that I cannot sit in.
The back seat is the best.
See here. Mad Dog, thankfully it's not in my head. No, but Caleb's got me. Oh, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Big Only small ones, some as big as your head. Give them a twist, a flick of the wrist. That's what the showman said. Yeah, that would. I'm pretty sure that was public domain before Disney put it in. Okay. Now comes the fun part of lining these screws up. With the drop nuts. There's one. There's two. And I'm an idiot.
But we knew that already.
When putting the idlers on, it certainly helps if they're on the correct rail. It was on the correct rail.
You know, Caleb, I don't know what that song is. Maybe Penguin knows. But I don't know that one. I might want to, if I actually heard it, but just by the words, I don't know it.
Let's see here. Let me go through here. How do you not know Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? That's from Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
I don't even know what that is.
Chat. So I can definitely say this. Whenever stream finishes, James and I usually go and we have our, cool down time. We watch a TV show or movie or something. This man is going to be forced to watch Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. I'm honestly starting to think Chat's just trying to get me to think. Well, Havoc, I had not heard about the price doubling. But the delay, yeah, is hard. I mean, you've got Angela Lansbury in it. That's amazing in the first place. But then, I'm terrible with names. But, I can tell you what movie they're from. But you have Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Those two together.
That is long before my time. There's definitely a reason I have not seen that.
Lone Star Operator? No, I can't agree with you more. Angela Lansbury was amazing in that film. Funny thing is growing up and everything, the first time I ever Angela Lansbury for me is always associated with Murder, She Wrote.
Yes, that is. I have seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I have seen that one.
All right, let me get this started, then I'll come back to chat here. I've learned the secret to lining up these screws in this printer. You get the drop nuts, just push them right close together. That will line them up for you. So, little trick there for anyone that's deciding to build one of these. And that is if you're not using Zephryhills drop-in nuts. You're using the other one that's on the printer for ants GitHub. See, the big thing is if you start listing off like the movies from, the dark days of Disney, when it almost went away. Now I want to go watch The Black Cauldron.
See, I would just rather go watch Disney's Sword in the Stone. It was such a good movie.
To and fro, stop and go. That's what makes the world go round. Oliver and Company was another one that was underrated. My partner's favorite film is Atlantis. And again, another one that's underrated. Darby O'Gill, yeah. That was another good Disney one. I mean, I miss the days at the Disney park where they actually had a remote to lift the Sword in the Stone out. Now it's all sensors and timers. Yeah, you found the right guy, slipped him a 20, and hey, look, your kid lifted the sword. Okay. That's our 3. This is our one that doesn't quite lift up, but what we'll do for now, just in case James tells me I have to stop the print in the background, we'll get this at least installed in there, because once it's installed, that means my drop nuts are in the right place, and it'll be fairly easy for me to replace it off stream. Matt. No, I wasn't raised by Disney. No. But again, I guess that's also kind of the curse of living in Florida. Disney is everywhere. Fern Gully was amazing. At least the first one. The second one, Land Before Time. We're getting in some non-Disney films here.
I mean, Pixar is still that way, and they're Disney. Every parent figure dies or is dead within the opening or the first 10 minutes. Have you seen Hoppers?
I was about to say Inside Out, but I'm like, wait, no, that was Disney. That wasn't Pixar. Inside Out's Pixar. Parent figure didn't die there. Yeah, Nemesis got one. Toy Story. But one parent is not there. We never hear from Andy's dad.
There's a video online about the story of Andy's dad from some of the creators of Toy Story, which is very interesting.
Man, I like Super Carlin Brothers' theory about that, about Woody being.
So here's the thing: that's what I was talking about, and it's not a theory.
Oh, it's confirmed that Woody was.
If you watch the video, it's a story from. I forget. It's not Pete Docter. It's not the director. It's I think the guy who actually wrote the Toy Story. It was a while ago.
Yeah, Lone Star, if you go back and really watch Bambi and tear it apart, Bambi is a dark movie. All right. So we have our Z system in place, minus the belts. That piece just needs to reprint. We're starting to get some motion on the Prusa. So we'll see how that goes. Turning Red was a good movie, but a lot of people didn't realize what the movie was actually about. Yeah, a lot of people when it first came out did not realize what it was actually about. Okay.
So, I mean, the main character dies in Soul. That's close enough to counting.
Oh yeah, Disney can definitely kill off a character right in the first few minutes of a movie. I mean, a lot of people, like I said, one of my favorite rides at Disney is Pirates of the Caribbean, and a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, you go through, you see the skeleton and the crashed ship, and the first thing you hear is "Dead men tell no tales," followed by a flash of light, which is supposed to be the green flash. It's supposed to symbolize that you have died in the first minute of the ride, and then "Dead men tell no tales" after that. Okay, so in our bed we're gonna have M3x16 socket heads, so let me find those. Make sure I don't have them out already. I do not. Square nuts. Spacers. X.
No, he cannot skip the bed. Don't tell him to skip the bed. He's got to follow it in order.
This printer is small enough and light enough. I'm gonna do the bed this time just because, I skipped the bed last time on the Voron. I'm doing this so James can be happy. There's our M3x16 socket heads. But yeah, no, this printer's small enough. after lugging that 2.4 around, this is not going to be that bad to move things around. I mean, let me see here. I'm trying. Well, here, let's use a ruler. The box itself is only 25 millimeters wide, or 25 centimeters wide. The bed is not that big. It is not that heavy. Yep. They actually have that in a subsequent step. The one thing I am going to do on the bed is take the build plate off. That way I'm not having to worry about that as we're building.
It's so tiny.
Compared to the last one. Or the last two, yeah. I mean, it's length and width almost half the size of the other printer. We're just gonna feed our screws into the 4, and then Nemesis, like you were saying, if we go farther down, it's showing, hey, on some kits you have to put the magnetic sheet on and you have to put the heater bed on. LDO does all that for you, so I don't have to worry about that. And then the heater wires are thermistor and grounding and all that, or thermal fuse and all that's already on here. Let me double check. Yes, that is in fact trying to do this without the screws falling out. There we go. You can see the thermal fuse right there is already on there. Ow. Now the grounding wire, that is not already on here. So go into the cable box. And the cable. Okay. Well, one of these. Okay, so I know green and white is going to be our ground. That is going to be our grounding cable. So that we will go ahead and put on. Under someone called the fire department for steam venting. That is hilarious. Hey, the bit that I had in the screwdriver was already of the right bit size. See here. Yep. I do remember seeing that. Yeah, there is little bed mounts and everything under the bed for LDO. I don't know what I just dropped. Oh well. Wiring guide. Yeah, we have a Wago clip that goes under the bed. Actually, it doesn't quite go under the bed. It goes behind, but the filter fan does go. And all of those go. James, are you saying I should skip the bed? I'm doing it if you want me to do the bed. Okay.
I truly do not care.
We will skip the bed for now. But hey, at least I got the screws in for the bed.
I just like being a pain in your butt.
That being a hemorrhoid. Hmm? Okay, so we'll put the bed aside. But there are some standoffs. And it says M3x8. Those at least we can put in because those aren't going to affect those. Now I've got some M3x15 standoffs in here. M3x20 standoffs. Don't tell me that standoffs that they give are different. They apparently do M3x15 standoff in this kit. So they give 6 of them. I'm missing something. Okay. So I'm looking, it looks like on these pictures from the wiring, they are using these M3x15s instead of M3x8s. Starting generators that have not been used in a while is always a fun but nerve-wracking thing because while you know they're probably going to start, if they don't, then you get a bunch of headaches. Our piece is done. Now I'm going to ask, because I know James can hear stuff all very smoothly. Did you guys even hear the printer going on in the background? I am actually curious about that. Welcome in, John Doe. All right, so they were saying we've got 2 that they didn't hear the printer going on in the back. Ooh, toasty. Let's get this one done properly. So Tom, I think the Killa that is a good response. I like that one. But no, the constant line is actually the AC. I'm pretty sure.
It's the bane of my existence, but also we live in Florida, so it's 100% necessary.
Yeah, we've tried running without the AC. It gets stupid hot, stupid quick in here.
We just need like 50 fans going and we'll be fine.
Okay, I get to play. Find the shim after stream. That's gonna be a fun game to play. Let's find a silver shim on a gray concrete floor. Anybody else want to play that game?
I don't think he understood that you actually meant me when you were saying that. And Kayla just hit it right on the head.
Yeah. Neom. That's me admitting it.
But it won't just move the hot steamy air around because we'll just have the fans coming in from the main house, which is air conditioned with central AC. It'll bring that out here.
I found my shims. Well, that's also not good. Oh, I hadn't put one of the screws in far enough. And so I just dropped it and the screw fell out. Okay. Get the little pulley. There we go. One. Two. Let's skip the one that dropped. Back in its home. And then let's not be an idiot and put the pulley on the wrong way.
But that's your favorite pastime, being an idiot.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I do enjoy being an idiot. You can have so much fun being an idiot. I mean, who else here enjoys being an idiot? That's a lot better. Now that actually slides. Yay. Okay. In the bin. Down under eyes like that. Uh-oh. Thinking something about automation. Let's see. We don't hear the AC at all. Lone Star, thanks for that defense against Caleb. He's being mean to me. Okay, so that was, hey, get your bed in. Oh, only 2 hours in? Let's work on a gantry. I'm hoping to at least get the 3 sides. Maybe not the X done today, but at least the 3 sides. So this piece right here is another one of those pieces where if you just look, if you can blow the screen up real big for me, James. If you just look right here, you can see where they have shown the heat set in there, but they don't really show it anywhere else here until you get all the way down here, and then they show it when it's see-through. But this little piece does in fact have 2 heat sets that are actually pushed in beyond flush. So we'll go back to the top down and I'll show you guys. So yeah, 2 heats. Thank you. 2 heat sets in there, but they are not flush. They're actually beyond flush for both of these. So. I did a bit of planning. You can see I went far enough ahead that I even had the heat sets for these things done. Okay, now this one says it's a 3x14 millimeter pin. Which that one we do in fact have 2 of. And then we're going to need more of our shims right there. We're going to need some F623 bearings. And then we get to pop all of these things in. Pretty sure this is our 14 mil, but let's make sure of that. That is our 14 mil. Okay, there's our 2 14 mil pins. That's going to go back into our motion system box. And those are 695. I don't need those. F623s. Okay. Let's see here.
You see, but automation is one of the things where you do it first and ask forgiveness later.
Down under, I can say I am jealous, especially if they're overhead, because if I turn the overhead on, it just washes out everything. So I've got 3 different lights in here. Well, that too. Okay, so
These are
yeah, I've got 3 lights, 3 Elgato key lights on in here. 2 of the full-size one and 1 of their key light airs, but it's not like the new little mini key light air. It's and I can say that air is actually really nice for the size it is and the brightness it gets. If you can get your hands on one, I do recommend. Okay, so we went shim, bearing, shim. And that went right in there, and bearings do in fact spin. But I am very pleased with how, while the Voron was not fully tuned when I printed these parts, and I learned that later, but the parts that came out are doing very well. So for my first sets of prints on this thing, I am not complaining too much, except for those ones that sat here and decided, hey, I'm going to curl on you. All right, so might need to do some sanding on this bearing. Didn't quite want to go in that way. We'll go in this way. No, let me just check another bearing to see if it's, yeah, it's that bearing that wants to be toit. Toit like a toiger. Don't tell me you don't get that reference either. So that reference he might be a bit young for. Oh no, the one I just made a reference to. He still might be young for that. Okay. Well, hi. Come on. Up she goes. Now she has to make. Oh, is that the spot to sit? Is that where that you've decided? Okay, just picking up these shims so the cat does not knock them everywhere. You know, I don't know how to respond to that, Caleb and Bergman. You know, I take my time and I enjoy the build. I also enjoy talking to you guys when I sit here and can focus on it. Here. Well, Digital Dragon, you technically just missed a print as well. We just printed out something on the Prusa there because one of my parts warped. Okay, this one is our idler housing. I know you are, but I still got to give you guys a hard time for giving me a hard time. I'm not allowed to give you guys a hard time back. Okay, there's our two idler housings. You can go there. And grab. Yes, that is an accent color. You know, right now I'm feeling like this part of the build is old school Lego, where they just said, here's a bag, here's your pieces, have fun. Back before they started numbering everything. Yeah, digital, I've sat here and have been known to be extra cautious on my builds, just because when I was building the 2.4, I didn't have a printer that could print out the extra parts. And I'm just a generally cautious person anyway. And we're going to reprint those as well. Bear with me real quick while I pull up those parts. Import the front cover. Okay, that is splice. We'll upload and print that. That shouldn't take too long, because the one piece warped like crazy and the other piece has one hell of an elephant's foot on it, because I hadn't tuned that out on the Voron yet. But you take a look here, I'll hold these two up to each other. You can see how much that warped. So yeah, I don't like that. Let's see. Mad Dog, no, I'm not singing that. But yeah, Down Under, I definitely miss the old days of Lego, where they just sat here and said, here's your parts, go to town. That was fun. Okay, so these two pieces slide in. Ooh, that is stringy as heck. Now, on the little idler pieces, there are two little notches those go towards the outside and kind of keep it from keying in place. So that's just going to slide all the way to the back. There we go. That looks better. I definitely have had more tuning to do on that Voron. So Caleb, those were all these parts so far, except for these preprints that I'm doing right now, were printed on the 2.4. I think I went a bit premature on getting that printing because, you know, it was, hey, first Voron, let's get printing. Oh yeah, look, a part came out. Let's just start printing after I'd done some basic tuning. I'm pretty sure I needed to do quite a bit more tuning on it. But that's one of the things you learn, you know. Like I said, most of my experience before these two printers was on resin, which I will say tuning a resin printer, at least for me, is a lot easier than tuning an FDM printer. So, I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but yeah, for me, tuning that resin printer was 1,000 times easier than tuning these FDM printers, because there is, Caleb, yeah, there is tuning that you have to do for a resin printer. Everything from the amount of bottom layers you put in there to the exposure time, how long that light stays on to cure the resin, because the longer the light stays on, the more resin that gets cured, and so that throws off your dimensional accuracy. But at the same time, if you, like, especially on your bottom layers, if you don't cure long enough, it's not going to stick to the build plate, and then as it's printing, the entire print peels off your build plate, and then you have to clean your build plate, or not your build plate, your resin vat, because it will keep printing even though it can't in that resin vat without pulling the print off of it. So Gergman, thankfully I've had separate rooms that I can keep the resin printer in, and I have the PPE. That's why I have so many nitrile gloves, all the isopropyl alcohol. I have respirators. I'm not sure how much the respirator does anymore because of the beard, because it can't create that seal. But all right, so now you can see this little plate here that we're going to be putting on there. They actually have different versions of it. They have one like the ones I'm printing that don't have any embossing in them. They have ones with the Micron logo, with the Voron logo. I just wanted to go straight, no logo on it. But while we're waiting for that to print, let me see if I can find the screws. 3x25. 3x16. M3 by 25. So that's what's going to be screwing into this. Bearings can go back in there for now. Okay. Let's quit. Hold this up. Let's move on to the next thing to put together. So we have our AB motors, and these are long shaft because they sit here and actually set the Micron up for double shear AB drives. So if anybody is a fan of that, you can know that this is a nice kit that comes already done for you, so you don't have to go out and buy new motors to get double shear. Okay, so we're going to grab our 16 tooth GT2 pulleys and grab our grub screws, because since I took the other ones out, that means I actually have ones that I can use in this. Now with this, they have gone and put a flat part on our motor shaft, so I'm assuming that just like on the other ones, this is going to be a single grub screw. Yeah, Caleb, I do need a different respirator because of the beard. And that's just a matter of going out and buying one. But I haven't printed with that resin printer in a bit now, so when I do get back into resin printing, I think I will get a different resin printer, because there's some tuning that can be done through different slicers that you can do on other brands that you can't do with Creality. Okay, so I'm gonna get the calipers out. Mad Dog, I could do that. Who knows? Maybe one of these days, maybe I can sit here and save the
Please
shaving of
no.
the beard as
God,
a
no.
charity street.
Please. Please, no.
What?
You look awful without a beard.
I think it's because you've only known me with a beard. .5 millimeters here. My OCD is making me go and get this at 4.5 exactly. There we go. We'll lock that in, and that's going to be the one where the teeth face down. Now the real fun part is what is the best way to measure this stuff? Like, that's going to be the best way. Okay. There we go. We got our 4.5 on our B drive. Give that a good tightening. And now we have to get 14 millimeters. Yeah, Caleb, I definitely have kept the beard for all this time because I also have a baby face, so I know exactly what you're going through. Last time I fully shaved and kept it off for a while, I was 23 and was getting carded for PG-13 movies. There we go. There's our 14 mil. Just because I want to be consistent. Oh, that is the right way. Okay, so loosening it up. Tightening it just enough that it can still move, but it's not going to rotate on me. Did I? Bingo. Okay, tighten that down. So there we go. There's our two AB drive motors. I think one of these days I will do a charity stream where I will shave off the beard for charity. I do not think I might need to partner with some other streamers to get that done. I don't think I'm a big enough name yet to pull that in by myself, but who knows? Okay. So now we need to grab yeah, that's just what I need. Shave just down the middle here, get rid of the ponytail section. Yeah, my boss would kill me if I did. So I'm just cleaning out our AB parts. There we are. Okay, and then we need M3 by 25 pins. And I think I did the thing.
The thing?
Yeah, the thing where I put something back where it wasn't supposed to.
Oh, what a...
Okay, well, there's our shims. I'm going to need those. Where did I put the pins? No, I put them back in the right place. Okay. So there are 6 M3 by 25 pins. I know I'm going to need 4 of them for this section. Okay. And it's not our right one. That is the one we need. This is where my tuning may come, my lack of tuning may come to bite me in the butt. But thankfully, I have a new set of tools that I can use to hopefully help out with this. These are free mill. Remember where I put those new tools. Here we are. I've got a set of reamers. That's an interesting way they shipped them. Give me a nice little bag, but heat seal it close. Horn. Three. There we go. So let me go grab my little cheap drill. I don't have the rigid, so I will be right back.
I think I missed something. I have no idea where he went.
Oh. I forgot to put it in here. I found what dropped. And I lost a headphone.
You see, my job is to do as little of my job as possible. So if I can do my job in such a way where I'm allowed to sleep on the job, then I think I'm doing okay.
All right. Let's see how these fit in here now.
Not this week, Nemesis.
There we go.
You're his babysitter this week, not me.
No, Nemesis, I did not spring a leak. I was looking for my drill that I forgot that I put in the toolbox. Because I still have tools that I have not moved into there.
Well, Nemesis, if it wasn't my week to babysit him, and it's not your week to babysit him, whose week is it?
I'm babysitting myself. I'm a big boy. I can do it myself. Okay, so we have, just like the Vorons before it, shim, bearing, shim. All right, and then our next one, we're going to do a double stack. So shim, bearing, shim, shim. Who are they playing? Bearing, shim. Mexico. Mexico. ¿Por qué? La pronunciación es México. Okay. So on this one, we need our A motor. I just heard a crash. Okay, so on this motor, I need an M3x6 button head. Knowing my luck, it's going to be in one of these bags that I've already pulled out. Nope. 3x10 socket head and 3x6 button head. Well, Nemesis, I can say if the neighbor is parking their car into mine, then that's going to be a pretty open and shut drunk driver case. Okay. There is our M3x6, and it is telling you to make sure that your wires for your A motor go along with the direction of the X gantry. So in this case, this side's for our X, for the rear of our gantry. This side's for the Y. So we're going along with the rear that goes along with X. And now I need to get which one of these is the upper A, which I believe it is this one. Now the other question is, am I going to need to ream? Yep, going to need to ream this out as well. Should be those two. One. Two. I am so happy I recently picked those up. And that just went right in. I don't know how flush those are supposed to be. But I don't see them sticking up being a problem. I think my partner says we're rooting for Brazil, but that's just because I think there was something to do with DoorDash, where if Brazil won, we got like food for so much. So I don't know. I haven't been paying. That's how much I've been paying attention to it. I am not a football fan. I'm an American football fan. I'll watch that occasionally, but I'm more of a hockey fan. Okay, so I need to get our little top pieces for these. There's one, and there's the other. Yay! Okay, well, I'm not sure if I reamed out the bottom one enough, because this is showing those as being flush. But again, like I said, I don't know if that will actually affect, but this will tell us right now. And yes, I do in fact need those pin stacks to be flush. Yes, those are lineman's pliers, because I sit here and am an idiot and decided to rewire my house myself. And so I wanted to make sure I had a decent pair of lineman's pliers to put wires together. Okay. Jeebus. Noted, Caleb. Good Lord, Nemesis. Mother Nature hates you today. That's the only thing. That's the only conclusion we can come to. Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. I think, even though we have those other parts printed, I might need to reprint these parts. Because if what I'm seeing is correct, the reamer is tapered at the front, and so since that hole was not the proper size, it is not getting all the way down to the bottom and making it big enough to get these pins all the way in. So let's do this. At least get the AV idlers. We'll get those completed. Just using the M3x25s, which are right here. Four of those. Get these in here at least, that way we have another part done. There we go. That one's done. Yeah. That one's started. That one's in there as well. So there's our AB idlers done at least. But with this pin not going in all the way, double check and make sure. Aha, we might not be. Okay, I had the wrong one on. They thought about that pin not going down all the way. Look on the bottom here. There's actually a little divot for that pin to sit in. I don't need to reprint that. So but what I do need is I need the other bearings. Open up. There we go. With this, the bearing flange is going to be on the top side. You know, they say people say marketing doesn't work, and then you hear stuff like that. Yep. On. There we go. That is now on. And this is the piece in 2 steps that I am wondering if it's going to go properly. But before we get to that piece, let's find our M3x35 socket heads. M3x35 socket heads. Just need you to line up. There it is, 2.5. No, that's not bringing up. All right. Gerdman, I hate losing my phone. Thankfully, I have things that I can yell at that will find me my phone. Okay. There we go. Was all in, and then they actually made it so that you need to tighten down afterwards. They put an access hole in the top to give you access to that last screw. Now, to double check your work, they're saying make sure that the bearings and everything line up with your pulley. Looks like they do. We're good there. And now I need to find this thing. And apparently that bearing needs to go down some more. Because this piece is supposed to go in here so it can lock in. There, just like that. And with that, that locked it in. Cool. That's our A motor done. And then I did print out our little stop because I do believe that this thing is designed or is going to be sensorless. And so they just have a little stopper that you put in here if you're not using a switch. And now we get to do it all over again. I can say we've been going on 3 hours, which is where I tried to stop the stream. Would you guys like to see me build the last bearing stack, or would you like me to do that off stream? I will leave that up to you guys.
They're notoriously terrible at making decisions. Almost as bad as me.
No, you're impossible at making decisions. They're just terrible at it. Nemesis James is not my method of finding my phone. Home Assistant can actually do that. Well, let's put a poll out here. Give me a second here. There we go. Nice little poll there. I apparently can't spell either.
Yeah, but we know that already. That's why I do the titles and not you.
Well, that was a quick do it now, so all right, let's go and build ourselves some more bearing stacks. This time we need this one. And make those holes a little bigger. There we go. Go. With a shim. A bearing. A bearing. And a shim. And a shim.
And a shimmy, shimmy, shim.
A bearing. A bearing. A shim. Another shim. Yeah. A bearing. A bearing. And a shim. I know, it was so exciting, wasn't it, Caleb? Okay, so this is going to go on like so. We're going to grab our M3x6. At least get that started, because I might need to wiggle it around a bit. Put our one. Okay. There we go. That's two. Goes on like so. That went in a lot nicer. One, a two. A three.
Crunch. That sucks, Nemesis. What are that'll be what, day 3 with no power?
Oh, that'll be 4 days because you lost it Friday. Yell at your power company, see if they'll give you a credit. Take and put our little cap thing in. And that has rotated. And that is our AB motors. Ooh. So the transformer on Nemesis, here's hoping that you don't have one of those old transformers that are hard to find. Granted, those ones worked like crazy, but yeah. If they have to sit here and if they can rebuild it, you know, a lot of times that's a lot easier than sometimes that's easier than replacing, but if it's an older one, they have to replace it. They're getting harder to find. All right. But that went a bit smoother than I thought it would. And now we're going to get into doing rails. So I'm going to save that for next stream and I will do the rail cleaning off stream because you guys have seen me do that before. Yeah, I know. I actually did something quickly.
It's because I decided I wanted to shut up and not distract him. It's all me.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think that's the fastest I've ever put an assembly together. But what I will say is, I'm going to get the rails, cleaned up and put onto the extrusions before next stream. That way we can sit here and see the gantry come together, get the X all together and be that much closer. So with that, Caleb, I know you'll be up much later. I'll see you in Discord much later tonight. But with that, I've been Penguin Makers. The man behind the camera has been James Cube. And go make something awesome. Okay. What fell during the stream?